Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome back to the channel. Younes Charfaoui is here, and in this video we are going to see how named parameters in Kotlin functions works under the hood. Let's get started. So here I'm having a simple function. It just use this number power of. I'm just using this as sake for example, and let's say I'm going to print like, let's just try this function. Let's make 5 and 2. All right, well, this would need to be doubles. Let's run it. It will just print like 25. All right, this is the example. Now, under the hood, like if you go to the tools here, go to Kotlin and show Kotlin bytecode and decompile it, you will see like pretty simple. It's a Java function. It uses under the hood the matpo to use this function, and it's doing exactly what you are doing here. Casting it to int because I'm returning int here and so on. Now, the fun part comes here. Let's say I'm having this equal to 5 by default, or let's say 2 by default. If you just do that and you decompile your code, you see a different thing. You see something called power off and default. Now this is a new function completely, and it calls this power off, which is this function. This is the main function, because in Java we don't have named parameters and default parameters, but in Kotlin we do have them. So what is happening under the hood? We will try to experiment with things. First of all, it added like this var0 and var2, which is these two, and it added this var4 and the object var5. Now keep in mind, when we call this, simply here we are calling this one var0, all right, but we are not using this one yet. Why? Because we are not just using it. If we delete it like that, now if you decompile it, we would use it. We would use the power of default. We will pass a null object here. I don't know why. I think there is something passed here. It's just here in the decompilation didn't appear. But as you can see, we added an extra thing here, like there is var4 and bitwise and to equal and everything else. So what is happening under the hood is that Kotlin will generate a new function and it will fill that default parameter based on some condition that this var4 provides. So we'll see an example here also. Let me just add default parameter here. Let's just make like 2 here, of course, and let's just decompile it again. You will see here we have two conditions, right? If you add another one, let's just call it C. Sorry, and it will be 3, for example. Let's just make 1, 2, 3. Decompile it. You will see 3 here. So this is the way to assign default values to these parameters here, and then you just pass them with the regular function. So this is what is happening under the hood. So let's just dig in here for a moment. We have this var5, 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 which is this one. For each default variable we add, it will do this kind of thing. Like there is default with 1, with 2, with 4. If you add another one, it will be 8, then it will be 16, then it will be 32. If you just do it one more time, let's duplicate it. C, D, and E, for example. Okay, let me just do something like the following. Decompile it. You will see here I have until 16 because I have 5. Let's say here that I want this D to not have a default value. Now the respective position will change. We will have, yes, we will have for this one, for this one, for this one. We won't have this one, but we will have this one. Like we will have like here for 1, 2, 4. We won't have 8. We will have 16. If you decompile it again, now there is an issue. Yeah, I should pass the variable for C. Now there is another issue. It's not C. I think it's D. If I pass the D here, I decompile it. As you can see, there is 1, 2, 4, and 16 directly. So this number 1, 2, 4, and 16, they are multiple of 2 to the power of the number of inputs or parameters we are having here. And the reason for that is because we are doing the bitwise AND. We will see in a minute why we have such a thing. And you can see here from the calling, we are passing for the var7, which is the one compared here, we are passing 22, which is a specific number. If I change this from here, let's say that I copy that from here and paste it here, this number will also change. Like, let me just put the C here and decompile it. You see the number here is 26 right now. So there is difference. So here we are passing this number for specific reasons. Now, let me put just another example here. If let's say that I will delete everything here, or let me keep it and delete this one. Okay, so which parameter we don't have value of? Let me put 1 here. If I call this one, for example, and put the 2 and decompile it also, you will see a different value here, which is 31. So 31 here means that we should include everything. So here to assign different values for different variables or different input parameters, we are using the bitwise AND. To demonstrate the example why we are using the bitwise here, let me just delete those for the sake of example, and let me just delete this one. Now, if I delete this one, I have where to put it here. But if I decompile the code one more time, you will see I won't have the access for the 1. I won't have the right position for the 1, okay? Starting with the 2 and the 4 directly. The reason we are having this 2 and 4, because in binary, the 2 is written like the following, which is 1 and 0. And for the 4, it is written like the following, 1 double zeros. If you go to the 8, you will see it's 1000. Same thing for the 16, it will be like that. 32 and always. This is called shift right. So this is the default numbers. It will always go like the following. If you see which number we are comparing here, we are comparing the variable number 5. Now, if you see the 5 here is passed as 6. Now, 6 has a meaning. 6 has a meaning. How it has a meaning? Let's say. Now, we are just comparing var with 2 and var with the 4. With the 2. Var 5 with the 2. Now, 6 with the 2. If you go here and you just input the value of 6, 6 means 0, 1, 1, 0. Now, the 6 is 0, 1, 1, 0. We are comparing this with what? With the 2. The 2, which is this one. So basically here we have 0, 0. And the bitwise AND, there is the bitwise AND. Sorry, I have bad handwriting. Okay, that's why we use computers. So if you do the bitwise AND, we'll simply 0 with AND 0, it will equal to 0. 0 and 1 will equal to 0. 1 and 1, it will equal to 1. 0 and 0, it will equal to 0. So always here we will have the result of 2. What does it mean? For the condition, it means that it is different for 0 because 2 doesn't equal 0. And that way, we should include the value, we should fill the value of the variable 2 here. If you have the same thing for the 4 here, the variable 5, which is C1, okay, we are not passing a value. So var 5, which is 6 with the 4. If you go here, so we will do 6 and the 4. The 4 is as the following, 1, 0, 0. And for the 6, it's 0, 1, 1, 0, which will equal to 0, 1, 0, 0, which is different than 0. And that way, we should include this as default parameter. Now, if I delete this one here, if I delete the default value, and I just pass like 7 here, for example, sorry, but I just pass it for the C, like the following. If I decompile it right now, we'll see a different value for the var 5. var 5 is the number 2. And that's how we will get rid of this value here. So we will always fill this one. Now, let's see an example, us filling this value. Let's say I will put the exponent, which is equal, for example, to 11. Let me just put here 0. Now, we are just passing all the values here. If I just put here 1, and let me delete that, decompile it. Now, here you will see var 5. We are passing for the var 5, we are passing the number 4. For the number 4, what do we have? We want to pass the value for the exponent, but not for the C. So, if you go to the decompiled code once more, you will see we are using the 4 here. Now, 4 with the 4 will equal to what? Will equal to 4. Let me just put it here. 4 and 4, which is 1, 0, 0, and 1, 0, 0. It will equal to 1, 0, 0 with the bitwise AND. So it will select that. But for here, it will select the value and it will put the var of 1. Why we have this one? Because from this. But for the exponent, we are passing this value 11. So it should not go here. If you go to this value and see 4 and 2, 4 which is this one, and the 2 which is this one, and you put the 0 here. If you do that, it will be 0, 0, 0, because 1 and 0, it's 0, 0 and 1, 0. Everything will be 0. So it will be equal to 0. If this 0 does not equal to 0, which is false, it won't go here. And that's how it will use that number directly from this 11. Now, the choice of this variable 5 is dependent on the compiler. The compiler will calculate the appropriate binary number in which all this condition will get selected based on whether we are passing the correct parameter or whether we are passing the default parameter or not. Even if you switch the numbers here, like switching the numbers, let's say I put exponent here and I will put the C, for example, let me just put the C here, it will be 2, for example, and I will put then the number. We are just switching the parameter orders, right? This wouldn't affect the function. It will simply put the numbers here and then pass them in the correct order. As you can see, var 0, var 2, var 3, and then we are passing in different order or the correct order that the function is expected. So this kind of behavior, when you swap the order of the parameters, it won't change the function. The function will change here based on the number of the parameters you put and how many variables you have default value of. So if you have, for example, 5, you have here 5 if and else. That's the thing. And choosing this number of the variable 5 will depend, like here we are not using this function at all because we are just passing all the parameters by our hand. But if I delete that and I put just the number here with 5, it will get executed. It will get executed, as you can see, and you have this condition. Now, as I said, the choice of this 6 or 7 or 8 will be based on whether we should pass the default parameter or not. This number will get calculated automatically by the compiler. Like, there is an algorithm in order to figure out which clause we should select and which we should not select. This is brilliant usage of this Bitwise with these numbers. So this is how named parameter and default values passed in Kotlin function are getting translated into Java. Because in Java, we don't have this feature. But by using simple if, and like we don't have else's here, using simple if and using this brilliant new variable here in order to trigger the right branches in order to fill default value or not is really a brilliant usage of this Bitwise end. So thanks a lot for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see you in the next videos. Salam alaikum.